Hey, everybody, it's Saturday morning, and I am Admiral Tommy Scoble. You're on the lifeboat. Hope you're getting off to a hell of a weekend. It's the start. Matrix, good to see you. Valerie 102, how are you? Sandy Wandy, glad you're here. Christina Leone, I'm glad you were here. Miss Sunrise Dawn, how's it going? Good to see you. Meredith Lynn, I'm glad you're here. Well, you know what? I did a live last night. Jilbo Baggins, I'm glad you're here. Rexican Messler's here. Always an honor. Tommy Bird, say a little prayer. Lynn Sanity, there you are. Hi from very hot Scotland. Do you love that, people? Huh? Hi from very hot Scotland. Lumen, present. Glad you were all here. Yes, I'm glad that you're all here as well. Kevin Hawthorne from Lakeland, Florida is in the house. Hello, Anita Card. My other's keepers here. Michelle. You know, people, so yesterday, Miss Mary, how are you? From Sweden. Oh, no. I'm sorry that you got bad news, Miss Mary. That's awful. Well, thoughts and prayers for you and your family. I hope that it's, I hope that you're hanging in there. I hope that you persevere and push through. Philly, Donna, good to see you, but I'm glad that you're here, Mary. I really am. It's a good call to not suffer in silence, to start talking about things that upset you. Honestly, I have found Moni69, good to see you. Hey, make it make sense. I am wearing my glasses. Good to see you, Lisa. I have found that suffering in silence makes things a hell of a lot worse. Smitty, how are you? Millie, the dandelion. Pajama Pixie, good to see you. Well, thank you for being here, Miss Mary. Armine, I love you. I'm so glad that you're here. Oh, you're very kind. You are very, very kind, Armine. All right, everybody, what do you think? Should we get this thing underway? So I don't know what you've been doing for the last couple of days, but unless you're living under a rock, you know where I am, right? My backdrop has changed dramatically. Tammy, good to see you. Becca Jean, how are you? And I think that 99 out of 100 of you think it's a pretty good thing. And I thank you. I thank the 99 out of 100 of you. And the 1 out of 100 that just thinks that I should be on a leash somewhere, God bless you too. Sandra Ferguson, good to see you. To be really honest, I get those that don't get me. I really do. It makes a lot of sense to me, believe it or not. Love it. Good to see you. I get it. Blessed to crochet. Hello, Mary. I'm perplexed by people that. Anyway, well, it's Saturday, people, and I'm pretty happy to be here. All things considering, I'm pretty happy to be here. My boy's going through it. Spanky is still he's still recovering, but I'm happy to help, and I got a little time to kill, so it's been fun to sit in front of the microphone again. You know what I mean? Those people need to go find their own crim. Why, thank you, Lumen. I think that's exactly what needs to happen. Although I'll tell you, the crim thing, there's a lot of people that just are not gonna they're not gonna ever be really, really happy. Yeah, Tommy Bird says, every time I think I find a good rock to live under, someone comes along and digs me up. So I search for a new rock. Well, we're going to keep digging. It's one of those things. I've spent my life doing that, and people continue to dig me up as well. Miradira, glad that you are here. Kathy, my friend Kathy is here. Great musician. Love listening to her. I really do. I'm glad you're here this morning. We're going to just talk and hang out this morning. I'll probably say more than I should, because that happens on this on these shows. Pajama Pixie, are you asking me if I've read your email or what my email is? My email is my name. If there's an email waiting for me, I have done nothing this morning. I shouldn't say that. That's a lie. I read a crap load of emails this morning, but I'm not even to 4 days ago or 5 days ago. Lurker Laura. Well, you know something? I'm proud of you, Lurker Laura. I am proud of you, and I bet everyone else is too. Surviving Together says, Tommy, can you please let Spanx know I sent an email re-simulcasting today? I absolutely will do that. Surviving Together, you have my word. I will make sure that Spanky is up on that. Bet I will. And I want to do a huge shout out to Laura for real and to all the other lurkers who have decided to pop their heads up and say hello, because this may be one of the most important things you ever do. Think I'm being silly, or you think I'm trying to push a YouTube channel? I'm not. I don't care if you do it here, but the connection thing, it's more real than you have any idea. I promise you, it is so much more real than you have any idea. You can send it to my name at gmail.com, Tommy Scoville at gmail.com. Trauma and clutter is a topic today. You know what? People will throw that up there. Boy, I think we can probably all relate, no? I certainly can with the clutter thing. And I'm sure that my friend can too. You know something? Thoughts and prayers for Lisa Trimble. I'm not going to give you. I work with Lisa a lot. Lisa and I are friends. So I'm not going to, I would feel odd giving too much of the story, but thoughts and prayers with Lisa, whose roommate is going through it. And is having very serious sort of end of life health trouble. And that's a difficult thing. One tough chick says, hi, Tommy. I've got a buddy whose mom was murdered 2 weeks ago. Wow. She's having trouble coping. I invited her to join us. I hope she does. She needs some connection and some love. I am so sorry to hear that, one tough chick. I hope that she does join us. There's not much on earth that is more difficult to get over than someone being taken from you senselessly. There's, unfortunately, this is something that, you probably will not, statistically, it probably isn't going to happen to you in your lifetime. You're probably not going to know somebody. It does happen infrequently enough that it's usually rare that we know someone who has been murdered, or we know someone who's lost someone that way. If however your friend list gets closer to 10,000, right, or 20,000, then chances are it's going to happen a lot. And sadly, this has happened a lot on the lifeboat. It's always difficult. Mark Hardman, I'm glad you're here, man. I'm honored that you're here, Mark, to tell you the truth. Thank you. I appreciate you being here, man. Thanks. Thank you a lot. It's always so hard when you lose someone. Living in the Gray Area says, oh God, I'm dealing with decluttering my own stuff of 20 years, including my dad, who passed away 2 years ago. I'm sorry for your loss. And my grandparents' stuff. And an autistic burnout now. Overwhelmed is an understatement. You know something? You may not believe this, but this is a great life lesson. Everybody pay attention, because you may not believe this, but just saying what Living in the Gray Area just said is the start of all of that. If you're massively overwhelmed, telling the world you're massively overwhelmed, telling a friend that you're massively overwhelmed, saying out loud, hey man, I'm overwhelmed, this is more than I can handle, is the start of being able to handle it. Think I'm playing? Try it. It's really astounding how well we were built. West Coast Fancy Nancy, big love, glad you're here. Moan, glad you're here. And Kristen Melinda, we can start now officially. I don't feel like I can start until Kristen Melinda is here. I'm so sorry, Christina Leone. That is so hard. When you lose somebody and they're when they're stolen from you, when it's something that happens that senselessly, it's a far more difficult thing to heal. As humans, we most often deal with the loss of a human being, and it is a very sort of etched in stone kind of process that people go through. What I mean by that is, granted, everybody grieves differently, but the grieving process of somebody passing is almost The process is the same. How everybody does it is very different, but the process is exactly the same. When you throw in a fact like that someone was taken from us, or that the way that somebody died is senseless, there's a whole another level of the processing that then comes in. There's a level of hatred, believe it or not, in all grieving. There's a short period of time where we hate the people that left, that passed. You may not even realize you do it, but it is something that we do. There's that period where you're just pissed. You're so angry at the person that left us, knowing full well that that's just under the surface and it's sitting there percolating. That emotion is real and it's almost always there if it's stimulated, because there is somebody now that we can put that hate to. Right? That's very real. When someone takes someone from us, there is a focus of our hate, whether we know who that person is or whether they're still looking for him. That's real. And sometimes it feels good that it's not the loss emotion. We can grit our teeth. We feel sometimes like we have more control over hate than we do over sorrow or over loss. And unfortunately, sometimes we can really grab onto that with both feet, because it is the easier of the emotions. Casey, I'm glad you're here. Because it's the easier of the emotions for us to deal with, very often people will literally just latch onto it. Ashley says, what's the point in fighting this depression? This world is so cold hearted. My mom was taken on April the 13th, and I just want to go join her. I understand the sentiment. I really do. I get that, and I bet everybody does. And the world is a cold place, to be sure. Unfortunately, when something like this happens, it is really easy to forget all of the things that have happened in our life that are the exact opposite, right? The beauty and the light that is in this world is phenomenal. I'm not taking away from the hate here. I spent a lot of time around really bad people. I spent a lot of time as a really bad person, but there is so much beauty and love in this world, and it's really hard to see that in the midst of hate and in the midst of what you're going through. It's a super difficult thing to feel, to see, to understand. I get that. It's not. I'm not saying this. It's an easy process. It's not. But I'll tell you something, Ashley. This is one of those. This is one of those things that very often destroys people, destroys souls, and then there's the other half. There are people for whom things like this change them for the rest of their life, but they change them in a different way. One of the people that comes to mind is Adam Walsh's father. Is probably one of those cases that I look at and go, how in God's name did this man become what he is? His son, you probably know the story. His son was kidnapped from a mall and assaulted and murdered. Sexually assaulted and murdered. And the guy that did it, one of the ultimate lowlives, would write letters to Adam's dad describing how much fun he had in the process of removing his kid. It really tough on it destroyed the marriage. It was a lot of really ugly stuff that came from it. But that man decided that he was going to use the loss of his son to become an agent for change, to try to hunt down people like the dirtbag that did that and make sure that they didn't have a place to hide. And now the number of people that he has helped, the organizations that have spawned from what he's done. He's a guy that took one of the ugliest events of hatred that possibly could have happened and has used it to kind of turn the earth into a better place, or to certainly make the effort to try to turn the earth into a better place. I'm not a very good person. When someone talks about, I feel horrible when people talk about losses like this. I was never a murderer. I didn't kill people, but I spent time with people that did. I probably I'd say that there's a safe bet I've met more murderers than anybody that's here today. That's kind of where I spent a lot of time. It's and I always feel so strange. I know I for a lot of people, guys like me are the face of all of that, right? There's a reason that it's one of the reasons that people dislike ex-convicts as much as they do, and it's one of the reasons that you see things in people's eyes when people find out you're a convict, and it's the reason that I don't get angry at people. I'm I'm not even when I was a criminal, I'm not a hardened criminal, if that makes sense, right? So I feel the same emotions. I'm a guy that says, yeah, lock that dude up and throw away the key. You hear about cases and you think, man, lock that dude up. That's the same. You would think as a convict that you'd be kind of a bleeding heart and you wouldn't want to see anybody incarcerated, and that's usually not the case. Like I was incarcerated when they were talking about defund the police, and you should have heard the convicts. Just thought that was the most unbelievable concept in the world, right? They were going to do what? Holy hell, right? Look at all the damage we did with them, fully staffed. You were going to get rid of them. Um, Living in the gray area says, that's what I'm trying to do slowly, Tommy. Take my traumas and losses and turn them into something that shifts the narrative of my life and anyone else I can. Watching you makes me want my podcast back. Well, I would love that idea, right? I would love that idea. Please start your podcast back up. Tammy's sending a big hug to everyone that needs it. That's a beautiful thing. Right? That is a really beautiful thing. You know what? My other's keeper. And it's always hard when someone has lost somebody to you feel guilty sometimes even saying anything. But this is a great comment. It says, Ashley, right now, what seems like the foreseeable future will really hurt. Once some time has passed, you will be able to reach out for help. And then you will become the person that others reach out to. And you know something? Uh, that probably sounds ridiculous when you hear it in the middle of loss, right? Because the concept that people would be reaching out to me because they were suffering, or people that would be reaching out to me because they had a drug problem, or um, any of the things that bring people to this channel. It's almost ridiculous as a concept that this is what I do, right? This is you could not have ever convinced me that this was a possibility at any point in my life. At any point in my life, did I think that this is something I would be doing? Now, I'm on the other side of the equation. I was the person that was causing the problems, not the person that was suffering from them, right? So it's a completely different thing. But I remember distinctively the process of going from screaming for help um, to becoming the person that people then reach out to and ask for help. And that process of going from one to the other is, well, I mean, for me, it was life saving and it was soul saving. I was living on this planet and I had been sober for about 5 years. The And I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. The thing that changed for me after leaving prison was the lifeboat. I'm not kidding. There was no way for me personally um, to come to grips with all of the shit that I had done. There was no way for me to come to grips with all of the stuff that I had done while out running and gunning. The people I had hurt, um, the damage that I had done. I had done a pretty sizable amount of damage to a lot of people. I'm gonna tackle the defund the police thing here in a second. Make everybody angry. Why not? Right? We'll talk politics real quick. Here's the bottom line on that. Right? If you demonetize the police, I have friends that will take this country and do things to it you wouldn't believe, and it would take them probably 2 or 3 days. I know people. Right? I spent a lot of time with people who really are the genuine article. There are people who get off the rails. They do drugs and they find themselves stealing to support their habit, or they find themselves doing something violent to support their habit, whatever the case may be. Then there are people for whom this is it, man. They dig it. There are people out there for whom crime is a life, and it's always going to be a life. It wasn't brought on by drugs. It might have been brought on by a tough childhood, whatever the case may be. But bad guys get stopped by good guys. That's usually the way it works. And I've never been a fan of cops, but they're the good guys. They really are. In every scenario where they have to call 911, it's not because the bad guy, right? It's because the bad guy needs to be stopped. Now, I think they need to be a lot better with how they interact with people. I loved the idea when they talked about sending out someone who had been trained to work in situations like domestic violence or whatever. I always thought that was a fantastic idea. Now, have a dude standing there with him who has a gun and a badge. Because sending a guy out without a gun and a badge is going to get a bunch of people killed. But having a professional go out there with him and try to actually, make something positive come from it. There are some laws in this country that are literally astounding. In the state that I just moved from, by the way, I've never been charged with domestic violence, domestic battery, anything like that. I've never been charged for putting my hands on a woman. But in the state of Nevada, if somebody calls the police for domestic violence, someone's going to jail. It's an etched in stone policy, right? They will tell you they're never going out to a house for a domestic violence call where someone isn't going to jail. Does that make sense to you? That's a bad policy, because sometimes people call on domestic violence because they're angry. They don't call necessarily because somebody hit somebody. I was never a victim of this, but I've watched people who have been victimized by this. I've watched situations where there was a husband who called the police for domestic battery on his wife, who never hit him, was verbally abusive pretty badly. I mean, honestly, she wasn't a nice person, but the third time that you call and they arrest that person, they're going to prison. That's it. It's etched in stone. There's no wiggle room. Third time, you're going to the joint. That's it. So that's terrifying to me. Laws that are written like that are terrifying. So we do need to, do let that crazy dog out, Jamie. I think we need to make a lot of changes, but getting rid of the police department. I lived in a place for 13 years that didn't have a police department. Give that a try. Let me know how you like it. You're absolutely right. Love it. I love this. Love it says, tough to change in a vacuum. Every mirror reflects one's pain in a vacuum. We need each other. I'm nothing other than reflect the good in us. We continue. We can't yet see. Sorry. There really is so much to this. It started out. I remember the first time I read the phrase "the opposite of addiction is connection." I read it in a book, and someone was quoting the person that said it. The person in the book was not the person that had come up with this as a concept. They were quoting somebody, and honest to God, the light switch, right? That was one of those things where I set the book down and I started to journal, and I bet I didn't pick that book up for 3 days. It was one of those moments that was just an epiphany, because I have my entire life, if you had known me or watched me from a distance, you probably would have said that is the most social person you've ever met. Like, this is a dude that loves to be in the center of talking to people, to have a room full of people that are all talking to him. Loved it, right? I hated it. I hated it more than anything on earth. But that is how I lived for a really long time, right? This was my default setting. When I removed the drugs, I came to realize that at no point during my addiction were there people around me. I might have been in a room full of people. There may have been people I was talking to. There was zero connection for 3 decades. I connected to no one. No one. You know something Katie did? That's a beautiful thing to say. And you know something, you did contribute. Thank you for being here. That's a lovely thing to say. I want to, you know something? Does everybody see this? I have nothing to contribute to the conversation, but I want to say that you're an amazing man. Thank you for what you have done today and all days. I'm so glad you're on the earth. That is a beautiful thing to say. It really is. And I'm getting better at taking compliments. You guys do know, right, that there is an entire other segment of the population that does not feel this way. And you kind of got to understand where they're coming from, right? I do understand where they're coming from. Again, when you're incarcerated, so just I'll bring this all back full circle. But when I started to journal about connection being the opposite of addiction, I realized that you can be in a room of 65 people and be alone, right? You can be in a room laying in a bed with somebody's head on your chest, right? And be alone. I was so disconnected from the person I was married to. I was so disconnected from the earth. When you allow a drug to take over your life, connection's gone. The drug can't allow that, right? If I had a legitimate connection to somebody on the planet, if I was really connected, they were going to try to get that drug out of my life, right? Anyone that I was really, really connected to was never going to put up with me doing heroin every day, sticking needles in my arm. So the addiction figures out really, really quickly that that can't work. So we're going to isolate, even if the person's laying in bed with you, right? My first wife and I, the glue that kept us together was heroin. For real, that's where it had gotten to. I think neither of us realized that. You know, once sobriety started to enter the picture, I think she kind of looked at me and went, "Who the hell is this?" You know, it's pretty crazy. Ashley, I love you. I really do, and I feel for you, and I understand your pain and where you're coming from on this. I do, and I would never want to say anything to hurt someone who's in the position that you're in. Okay, God bless. I don't agree with your statement in any way, shape, or form, but that does not mean that I don't hurt for you, right? And I don't understand the pain that you're talking about. Unfortunately, people call those numbers because they're angry, right? And the problem is when somebody weaponizes things like that, cops stop listening to people who are in trouble, right? The world stops listening to people who are in trouble because they know that the police are going to do whatever, no matter what, right? It takes away. It's like crying wolf. It takes away from the people that need it. It makes it so that people don't show up the same way, right? Domestic violence calls are the most dangerous thing that cops ever report to. But if the I'm not gonna do this. I don't want to hurt you. I really don't. The last thing in the world I want to do is hurt you. I I let's agree to disagree on that as a policy. Cheryl, you're a beautiful person. You really are. And Brazy, I'm glad you're here. I was having a conversation about you briefly yesterday with Spanx Calhoun, who's a huge fan of you, and Robin Miners. Good to see you, and very proud of the progress you're working forward with. My kid is it's I can't tell you the buzz of getting on the phone with your kid and having him say, "This person is." You know, this person I'm working with and this person I'm working with. It's like watching it's ripples, but it's just different. It's really, really beautiful. Jeremy Shelton, it's so good to have you back. Jeremy Shelton says, I think everyone here admires you for your honest and candid thoughts. I myself admire you for your constantly defending horrible disco groups without having any shame in doing so. It's so good to have you back. We were worried about you yesterday, Jeremy, but it's so good to know that you're back. Uh, oh no, no, ASAP. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of. Sorry, I dig it. I dig. I like disco. And you know what? I probably wouldn't have admitted that. 30 or 40 years ago, during the real hatred when they were in Shea Stadium, stomping on BG's records. It got pretty ugly there for a second. Living in the gray area. Thank you. I appreciate it. You know what? This is a tough show. Sometimes it really is. But you know something? There is so much payoff in this. There is so much unbelievable, what you get from sitting in this chair so far outweighs, the negative. And I mean, usually the negatives are they're not a lot of voices. They're loud voices, but there's not a lot of them. We got a few really ugly emails yesterday. But that's always going to be the case. It's always going to be the case. And the really beautiful thing, people, is if you start doing all of the things that we talk about, right? If you start journaling every single day, you journal in the morning, you journal at night, right? You do the things that we talk about, right? You're getting up, you're getting a little blood flowing through your veins, right? You're trying to do mind, body, spirit. You're bringing all of those things together, right? That is going to start a process that will change dramatically, right? What begins to happen is those people who, once I peeled enough, once I got to the point where I was completely at ease, I was completely over the things that I have done in my life. When I came to that realization, when I came to the point where I'm okay with what Tommy did, I'm not proud of it, right? I'm not proud of the things that I've done. However, I can talk about them, and I can talk about them very matter-of-factly. And that was something that took a really long time. But it's what it is, right? Once I could accept my past, the ability to put up with people that talk shit about you becomes a whole lot easier. What are you going to say to me that I haven't worked through? What are you going to bring up that I didn't journal on? I trust me. I know what a piece of crap I was. Trust me. So the people that have fun giving me crap for it today, I can tell you the day that I stopped being that person. I could tell you the date. I could probably tell you the time of day if I wanted to go and look at my journal. So at that moment, if you want to keep nailing me to a tree for the crap that I did before that, go ahead. I remove you from my life. I just kind of shove you away. There are people who will never forgive. And you know what? They got that right. It doesn't even make them a bad person. It just makes them someone I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time listening to, right? Because it's not going to do any good for me. You know something, Brazy? I love that. I really love that. And I'll tell you something. You make the lifeboat a better place. For real. Deeming, you know something? I'm going to have to. Deeming says, hi, Tommy, will you be doing any shows about the Karen Reed case with surviving? Yeah, I probably will be. Joel has reached out to me on this. I'll be really honest. I probably already should have done a show with him on this, but I've had a lot going on. I probably will. I love surviving the survivor. I love it. I have so much fun there. Jason, don't get Jeremy going. I'm telling you, don't get him going. It's all downhill from there. VT Kitten, I'm so glad you're here. I really am. I'm so glad you're here. Jeremy Shelton with the admission, I had a sweet pair of disco bottoms in the 90s during my skater years. It was my hipster phase before hipster was a thing. Were you rocking the Millennium mullet? Did you have the man bun? Tell the truth. Jeremy Shelton, were you rocking a man bun? I bet you were. Oh, no. Kim Roy has 4-day-old kitties from a foster mom. Man, you're loving it. And my voice is calming for the foster cats? Well, that's great. If I got to go a little longer so your kitties fall asleep, we'll work on that. I think I could probably be talked into that. Zelda, it's good to see you. See that? Now Jeremy Shelton, see, once you start, you don't want to poke that bear. Kristen Melinda. Good, that's right. Kathy says, I had big hair in the 90s. I want to tell you something. I am a fan of big hair. I am a really big fan of big hair. The 80s were great for that. God, I loved big hair. You graduated school with a skullet? Wow. Those use I can rock a skullet today if I want to I can do the like the Phil Collins look. I can rock the ponytail and with nothing on top, very little on top. I look like George Carlin. That's how I looked in prison. I had a ponytail when I was in prison. Bracy says, found you on STS last year and I was hooked and jumped on board the lifeboat. Thank goodness it's saving my life. I'm really glad that you're here. You make the boat a better place. You absolutely make the boat a better place. No man bun. My hair is 18 inches long. Where are we at? It has to go in a bun for work. Oh boy. See that? He's done the man bun. The millennium mullet. You can church that up any way you want there, disco hater, but you rocked a man bun. It's okay. It's all right. I'm not mad at you. I'm not picking on you either. There's nothing wrong with that. ASAP Lizzie says, oh my God, I totally see the Carlin resemblance. You know, every time I say that, someone will go, oh my God, I see the resemblance. I've put up pictures in the past. I wish I could remember which show, but I've put up pictures in the past where I had the ponytail. It's quite gray. You know, my hair is, I really look like him. I got it a lot. Every time somebody would see me, they'd be like, oh man, you look like Carlin. One tough chick is a terrible foster parent, but she did save two foster fails, 3-week-old kittens. Yeah, I love that. And you know something? You're in really good. You're in good company. Japanese people frown on male teachers with ponytails. I can see that. I can see that. You know something? I respect what you do. I could never do that job. And the reason I couldn't is because of movies like Stripes, right? I would be in there trying to do the met her on a Monday and my heart stood still, you know? Martha says, luckily I had natural Farrah Fawcett hair. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Farrah Fawcett. I loved Farrah Fawcett. Boy, was I a fan of Farrah Fawcett. A huge crush on her when I was a kid. And Steve Martin. Steve Martin does a great comedy routine on her. Living in the Gray Area says, if we're still talking about cats, we have 6 TNRs outside that we are trying to slowly bring inside. We have 3 inside, though 2 are from the outside cats. My goodness. You know what, though? This is definitely, this is a cat. This is a cat channel. There's a lot of people here that really, really dig. They really, really dig cats. Bill Murray is one of my favorite people. Bill Murray is super, super funny. That was it. Really loved that. My foster fails will be 6 years old in August. I love it. I love it. Yeah, we're this is your favorite is Steve Martin. Yes. Steve Martin is just, he hates these cans. Steve Martin was hysterically funny. He said that Farrah Fawcett was such a snob. You know, she had never once written back to him. He had written to her like 1,000 times and she had never once written back to him. He said, and after all of the nights, I held up her poster with one hand. You can go wherever you want with that one. Tommy is the cat daddy. Yes, I am the cat whisperer, to be sure. Cats dig me. The Jerk is one of my favorite films, Chris, and that was a classic scene. Bill Murray playing Garfield was way worse than Caddyshack 2. Good Lord in heaven. Let me get this straight. Bill Murray was the voice of Garfield? Wow, man. See, I didn't know that. I did not know that. I'm super, super disappointed at that. Paula Penley, I'm glad you're here. Good to see you. Thank you. I'm rocking this because it's a little bit chilly. Steve Martin is my celebrity crush for the longest time. He's my 10. All right. I have another picture I can show you where, believe it or not, I'm dressed as a cop. I was I was playing the part of a police officer in a play. And at the time, I didn't have gray hair. Obviously, I was younger, but I had my hair done gray for the part. And I look a lot like Steve Martin, believe it or not. When I have gray hair, I look a lot like Steve Martin. But that's another one I get. When I had hair, people used to say all the time, you know what you look like? Oh, you couldn't watch it today. You could not watch The Jerk today. You realize we could do this for the remainder of the show. Movies that we grew up with that you could not make today. That's one of them. You definitely could not play. He plays the banjo. You could not make that today. He plays the banjo, and it is the biggest thing in the world. I mean, for him, it's more important than he's won a couple of Grammys. He's an incredible banjo player. Like he's world renowned. He's super, super good at it, but he prefers it to everything. He'd rather do that than act or do anything else. I was in Funny Farm by you, babe. I was in Funny Farm with Chevy Chase. Steve Martin has happy feet. Yes. He is an amazing musician. A lot of people don't know that, ASAP Lizzie, but he's they do jokes about it on Family Guy occasionally, and they'll have him answering the phone, and it'll be somebody from Hollywood calling him, and he'll go, no, I don't want $25 million for a movie. Now you get me on the phone when you can find 75 people in a Grange hall where I can go and play my banjo. He turns down unbelievably huge movie roles on a daily basis because what he would rather do is play the banjo. And he's done enough. Yeah, King Tut, he had a hit. He had a top 40 hit, which is kind of funny. But he plays with Bella Fleck. I didn't know this. To be honest, I have only heard 2 songs that Steve Martin has played on the banjo. They happen to be the only 2 songs that the Bureau of Prisons had on the. In prison, you have the ability to download songs onto an MP3 player, a small MP3 player. If you buy it, right, you have to buy the MP3 player, and then you have to buy the songs at $1 a piece. Sometimes they'll do specials and you can get them for 50 cents or whatever. But they had King Tut, but then they had 2 songs where he was playing the banjo, and I bought them just because I wanted to listen to some banjo stuff. But one of them he was doing dueling banjos, and if you've ever seen The Deliverance, you know that. Any David Grissom fans? Oh yeah, there you go. I saw Grissman with Jerry Garcia back in the day. For those of you who are dead fans or fans of Jerry, he did a lot of bluegrass stuff. He had bands that he played with on the side, like Old and In the Way was the name of one of them. But it would be guys that just got together and did bluegrass stuff. You've seen him do dueling banjos. It's incredible, is it not? It really is. It's incredible. He's fantastic. I've been to the Dead and to Jerry Garcia shows. All right, ASAP. All right. Yes, Cheryl, I was seriously in Funny Farm. Reese today. I haven't spent a ton of time with Reese today. Reese came down and brought me some coffee. This morning she texted and said, "Hey, you want a cup of coffee?" And then she brought one down. But she's busy this morning. She looked like she was doing well. If she wasn't, she probably would have texted me. So I think she's doing pretty well. I still have my MP3 player. It was given to me by a friend with great music on it, says Philly Donna. You want to hear something, Philly Donna? So when you leave prison, you can take your MP3 player and you can mail it off with $25, and they will make it a normal MP3 player, right? And you can keep all the music that's on it, because right now it's a federal inmate MP3 player. And what that means is that my music is not on it. It's on a computer inside. And every 14 days, I'd have to go back and plug it in, and it would put all the music on there. But after 14 days, that thing would lock up, and you would have to re-plug it in every 14 days. It keeps people from stealing, right? It keeps people from stealing other people's iPads. I mean, whatever they call those things, MP3 players. because it only works for you. You can only hook it up to your name, your code, right? But once you get out, you can get it converted. But when you do, all of the media that you have inside disappears. So the reason people don't usually do it is they think there's a chance they're going to go back to prison, right? They think that just in case I go back, I don't want to have to buy all that music all over again. I had $4,000 worth of music on my MP3 player in prison. I mean, 13 years is a long time. You hear a song, you go, oh, and you go pay $1 to buy it. And it adds up. It really adds up. Oh, please tell me what you played in Funny Farm. Now I got to go rewatch it and look for you. Oh, you won't miss it. If you go watch Funny Farm right now with the mindset of, I want to look for Tommy, you're not going to miss me. I promise. There's no missing me. I'm not standing in the background or something. I have a part. I have a speaking part. You're not going to miss me. If you're looking for me, I promise you're going to see me. Rumor has it Tommy's MP3 player converted to Judaism for the jokes. Funny. Great reference. I love Jeremy Shelton. And I love it when you're back. Good to have you back. So I probably should mail this thing off and get my songs back, because there's a lot of really great music on there. There really is. Diary of a Ghost, glad you're here. But I just never got around to doing it. It wasn't because I thought I was going back. I never thought I was going back. But just in case, if I were to get locked up, there's still 4,000 songs on there. And you know what else is on there? When you go back, I have gone back. I got out of federal prison for bank robbery, got busted, and went back to federal prison for gun running. When that happened, all of my crap was still there. You go and you get on the computer and you put in you have a code and everything else. I put the code in, and the last email that popped up was from the previous sentence. If you don't think that's depressing, that's just horrible. Sierra Terry, I'm glad that you're here. Why, thanks. If when I see her later in the day, I'll give her a big hug from you. Paula, I'm glad that if you can pick up some good feelers here on a Saturday morning, well, I'm happy for that. I really am. You guys did a wonderful job last night of. I did a live feed last night. I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't in a great place. And when it was over, you guys had me feeling considerably better. That's an incredible gift. It really is. I'm being dead serious. This has been one of the things, probably the biggest factor in the fact that I'm not back in prison, and the biggest factor that I didn't do drugs again was the lifeboat. And I'm obviously, the longer I'm out, the longer I'm not doing drugs, the longer that I'm doing the correct stuff. Rolling Stone hit 5 months sober yesterday. You know what? That's the most important thing I've heard. Rolling Stone, how good is that? Huh? How good does 150 days feel? That's long enough to really start feeling like a new human being, right? You're halfway to that, almost halfway to that year mark, right? That's good stuff. Jimmy Pickles, I'm glad you're here, man. Big love. Thanks for being here, Jimmy. Venting does help. And I'll be honest, it was hard. You're right. Raquel Walsh never moved her arms when she walked, but she looked good doing it. Venting does help. Yesterday was a little bit tougher and it's tougher for my partner too, right? Because neither of us can actually vent. I think we'd like to. I think the day is coming where we're probably gonna vent, and I know the day is coming where Quibble will vent, and you guys will get a real decent idea of. Well, you'll get a better idea, and when that happens. Lisbeth says, Tommy, is there a way to do a call-in show for general advice? Maybe with you and your partner. I don't have many people I trust and respect, and y'all have quickly become those people. We're doing a call-in show, and Lisbeth, that's going to happen this week coming up for sure. We're going to be doing a call-in show, so stay tuned for that. It will probably not be on the lifeboat, but I wouldn't rule that out. There's a chance it might be, actually, so we'll see. Because Calhoun runs them. So if he wants to do it on the lifeboat, I'm not too concerned about the view thing. I really just want The Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate that. I really just want to I want it for the connection. The view part of it, I'm not nearly as concerned about that. ASAP Lizzie says I'm bubbling up. I can kind of tell. I feel bad. You know something? I feel if you're talking about I don't know whether you mean literally or figuratively, because that happens to me, right? This happens to me. I can feel myself. I usually know long in advance when I'm starting to I don't know what the right term is, bubbling up. When I start going off the rails, when I start feeling like I can feel crap welling up inside me, and when I do, I got to get out. Um, oh, I see what you're saying, ASAP Lizzie. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I wish that we could I wish that we could sit down and have a really long talk with all of you. But we're gonna. I freaking promise you. All right, stick around because it's coming. You know something? The fur coats. I'm looking forward for it to get colder so I can start rocking my fur coat more often. Elizabeth, no problem. I'm usually a minute behind too, which is way more embarrassing if you're sitting in this chair. Eh. So this month has been is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we've been putting up more content. Right, we've been trying to get more content up, and um, Relatable Reese is upstairs. She's probably above me. Uh, um, Reese is bothered, and no, she's no phony. So and I'm sure that it shows. What I will promise you is, um, you're going to get you're going to get all the news that's fit to print, but you're going to get it at a time when it's the safest for her and for all parties involved, right? For her and for her son and for everybody. But I would recommend that in the interim, you know, thoughts and prayers and a little bit of kindness, right? It's amazing how many people just don't get it. You know, how many people just don't get it. I get there have been some people that have there's a lot of people that just think I'm here for the party, and I really look forward to doing a cool video. It's coming. Shelly Kelly, I love you. You're fantastic. You really are. Um, you know, I've got to hang out with Shelly twice. She's just she really is fantastic. Lumen, yeah, this is something I think everybody can see, right? Everybody with a soul seems to have no problem seeing that. There are some people that seem to have miss it. Um, it would not be inappropriate to ask Reese if her sister is sober. Not at all. I think you're going to find there's not much you can't ask Reese. Reese is very wide open in terms of things she's willing to discuss. No, that's a subject that I think it would be. I think it would be not only would she not be offended, I think it would probably be a great question. It would be I'd be interested to hear her answer. It's I have a lot of fun having. There are some conversations that she and I have had that we can't have in front of the world yet. That I really look forward to doing with everybody watching. Right. I think it will be. I think it'll be some of the most unbelievable stuff. Yeah, I think it'll be very, very interesting to watch. I think it's going to be. Yeah. Sorry. Every once in a while. Diary of a Ghost. Well, it's very kind of you. Very kind of you. Well, we're Tammy. I'm sorry to hear that. It's a difficult thing to watch, isn't it? It's not something that's any fun to watch, to be sure. But it is what it is, you know. Well, there's a lot of truth to that, Philly Don. You know what's sad is good intentions get distorted by ugly people. There's a lot of truth to that. What's sad is there are people who you don't think are ugly who end up looking not so pretty when the time comes, or people that just say things and you go, "The f are you thinking?" You know, for real. This is what you've with all your time on the planet. This is what you've become, right? This is you feel good saying things like this. I find that fascinating. Not from douchebags. You expect that from douchebags, but from people you think have it together. That's a little frustrating. You read something and you just go, "What was the point of that?" It's kind of fascinating because I live in a different world than I ever lived before. I have thoughts now that nobody normal probably has, right? Because of what I do, because of this, I think differently than a lot of other people. And when someone says something and you read it and you go non sequitur, right? Like this, it doesn't jive, it doesn't make sense, it doesn't seem to go with everything that's being said. My first thought becomes, what is this doing for that person? Right? Because as somebody that really tries to, as somebody who's, most of the people I work with are trying to figure out why they can't stay sober. Most of the people that I work with, literally, that's the goal is to try to find out why they can't say no. Right? That's kind of it makes you start to question everything. If somebody says something shitty, they don't say it to be shitty. They say it because it's filling a need in their life, right? For real. Saying something, causing somebody to feel some way, trying to cause someone to feel bad is doing something. It's filling a need. So if it is, ask yourself, what need is that filling? With all due respect, what the F is wrong with you? Right? Cruelty, cruelty is, yes, it is. It's a blanket that covers, right, a lot of stuff. But the question becomes why? If you're being cruel, why? What in your life isn't getting met through all of the normal stuff that's going on? What in your life that is not getting met through normal things that kind people do? What is not getting met that you're now getting a little something by being a jerk, by writing something in hopes of hurting someone? Ask yourself, what's going on in your life? For real. Feel good about who you are? I'd rather be a dope fiend. Straight up. Rather go back to being a dope fiend and a criminal. Than just a nasty prick. You know? All right, people. I am the Admiral, Tommy Scoville. At some point, we're going to be going live again today. Not exactly sure what time. I know I'm going to be doing I'm going to be live at 7:30 tonight, right here, at 7:30 California time. And I'm going to be live at 7:30 California time for the entire month. I'm not going to, that's a time slot that I'm pretty comfortable doing, especially being where I'm at. I kind of go to, everybody is just starting to go to sleep at that time. It's great. I got this section of the house to myself. It's a lot of people show up for it. You know, we've had a pretty good turnout. I'm digging that time slot. So I will absolutely be there every night for the rest of this month. Why, thank you, Valerie. I'm sure that those animals will get a lot of it. Good for you, Diary of a Ghost. When I love it. Diary of a Ghost says, Tommy, I wanted to tell you I finally got my book published about my homeless journey in Tempe. I love that. Um, Look, when we tonight when we get up there, let us know how we can promote that or where people can get that. I'm sure a lot of people here would like to read that. I would. So very, very cool. Jimmy Pickles, I love it. He says every day I wake up, I work out and clean, positive thinking. You know what? Make that bed, right? Make the bed. It's the first shot you got of setting a goal and doing it. First thing of the day that you can knock out and say, you know what? I did this. My drug addict self wouldn't have, right? That sounds silly. People say to me all the time, it just doesn't. I'm not a bed guy. I mean, probably not a success guy either, right? And you're not a bed guy. You're probably not a journal guy, right? Probably not any of those things. No one's a friggin' journal guy, right? No one's a make a bed guy. You don't start that way. You have to force yourself into a friggin' habit that you're not comfortable doing. And you have to do that for about 14 to 18 days, according to science, before it will become a habit. I promise you, those 14 to 18 days suck because it's not what your normal, it's not what you're comfortable doing. When we step outside our comfort zone, we do things that we're not comfortable doing, it's not fun. And you're going to have to do it for 14 to 18 days. But if you're not going to do it, you're just here to listen to me. You're just here because you like the tone of my voice. Because all of the things that I'm telling you, you want to be successful, you need to do the crap I'm telling you. That's it. Hey, Real Table Reese, good to see you. We were just talking about you earlier. But that's it. Plain and simple. And I'm astounded. But you know what? I did it. I did it for 3 freaking decades. I went to groups and sat in there and they'd say, we're there's a journal assignment, and I'd go, yeah, I don't do that. I don't do that. And I'd go, well, you need to for this group. I'm not doing that. I just wouldn't do it. Instead, I just went back to prison, right? Went back to dope, blew off another family, destroyed another marriage, right? All of the things that I did along the way. As I'm spinning like this, right? Everything I touch, I damage. And you all did the same thing to a much smaller degree, right? The reason that I'm the person to sit in this chair is I really caused a lot of damage, right? It's always great to have somebody that is the prototypical, the over the top, right? The huge example thereof. Sandykin said, it took me 70 years to make my bed every day, but very happy to say I am finally sober and my bed is made. Ah, girl, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And you know something? That's real. Hey, it took me 46 years to do anything right. Anything. But I'm here to tell you, it gets a hell of a lot better. It really does. It's not gonna be puppies and kittens. I'm not gonna BS anybody. Your problems still stick around, right? When you get sober, they don't go away. They don't. The problems are still there. The difference is you stop friggin' running from them, right? You run from problems, they chase you. They don't go away, right? And when you turn around to face them, you're exhausted. You've been running, you got no effort. You got to stand right where you are. Turn around while you got energy, while you're feeling good, and deal with your problems when you're ready to fight. Don't run for a couple of years and then try to do it. They'll kick the crap out of you. I ran for 3 decades and they kicked the crap out of me. It took years to get through it. You are an incredibly kind person. You are an incredibly kind person. My ex-husband was like the storm spinning through my life. My greatest wish for him is that he gets sober for himself. That's incredible. I wonder if the people that I damaged think that way of me. I doubt it. I think I did. I think I did enough damage where most of them probably just wish me gone. And I'm not. I'm not mad at them for that, right? But I think you're an incredibly kind person to be able to say that. Okay. What did I miss 3 times this morning, people? Before I get out of here. Blessed to crochet. Let's see if I can find you. I'm not seeing it. Sorry, people. TommyScoville@gmail.com. Is that what you're looking for? That is my email. If that's what you were looking for, my email is my name, TommyScoville@gmail.com. I will tell you this. I'm about 5 days behind, right? And that's pretty good. I'm normally considerably farther behind than that. I've had a little time to work on it because I've got some time to kill now. But I am not caught up by any stretch. I'm not, unfortunately. I hope they do feel that way. Getting sober should not be a life sentence. Well, it's not everybody is not everybody is as philosophical, and not everybody is as kind. But I do appreciate how kind you are. If Kid was with me, I would show the belly, but Kid is not in here currently. Normally she would be. She's pretty fond of me, but I don't know where she is right now. All right, people, I'm going to really wrap this thing up now, and I will be back tonight at 7:30 California time. All right. Well, thank you, Philly Donna. I'm glad that you were here. All right. I will see all of you on the next one. Bye-bye.